Speaking of stirring up drama.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Excited to be back here for another fight.
Yeah. It's great to be back in the Midwest. I don't want to say I'm from the area because a lot of Chicagoans get mad but I'm from a little bit up north, and the state to the north, and Wisconsin's from the state line. It's nice being back, and nice getting back into the cage.
How long of a drive is it?
Oh, from here to my hometown, it's about an hour and a half, but it kind of depends on what the Chicago traffic is like, which is wildly variable.
Do you like fighting that close to home? Like on Friday, will there be a bunch of people from back home here and come out? Or?
After a couple fights of people saying, how can I get tickets, Alex? Where? I try to distance myself a little bit from everyone doing that, but I'm hoping that some people make it down, and if they're not down making it live, that they're at least enjoying their time after work and maybe taking a little bit of violence after.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a pretty good matchup here. Karl Moore, talk to me about him a little bit, kind of what you expect out of him and what your fans expect to see out of you two.
If you guys have seen my interviews before, you know that I'm not really the kind of guy to do a lot of research. I know Karl Moore is well decorated Bellator athlete, but outside of that, I don't really know a whole lot. I'm here to fight my fight, and like a lot of times, my fight, it's going to be ugly and kind of wild and pretty violent. So just hang on to the edge of your seat because it's going to be a fun one.
You guys were originally supposed to fight in April, right?
Absolutely.
What happened there? I don't think we ever got like a reason. Was somebody get hurt or?
Yeah, I think that my manager had told me that his camp for some reason wanted to push it out a little bit. Stuff happens, camp, whether he got hurt then, whether he was hurt before, and just wanted to take a little bit of time. It just gave me a little bit extra time at my new gym, Extreme Couture, to keep working on stuff. But I will say that I'm a little disappointed not to fight in Honolulu, but could have been worse. We could have been Chicago in December, so.
Yeah, no doubt. You just mentioned Extreme Couture, new gym. Why? I mean, it's a great gym, but what made you change gyms and go there?
There was a life-changing event. My wife had finished school, and we were looking at new places to go. We had a couple different ideas about cities to travel to. On the list was Las Vegas, and she says, "Hey, Alex, how is Las Vegas for MMA?" And I said, we could probably make that one work. And then, made the move to Vegas. And of course, if you're in Vegas, there's really just the one gym option. It's Extreme, and that's where you're going to get good work in with everybody. So.
Yeah, and a lot of life changes, obviously, like you said. We haven't seen you for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I know you dealt with a pretty gnarly injury from that last fight. Can you talk about that experience and I guess kind of what you went through and how you dealt with it?
Yeah, I was laid off for a little bit. 6 months of no contact after the broken jaw. So we really took a step back to the drawing board and worked a lot of pad work, mitt work, but also while I was a little bit earlier when I was unable to really work out at all, I made sure to get what was going on in my head right, and I saw a performance coach, a mental performance coach, who was able to go through some techniques about how to not only get my mind right to get back into things, but tools going forward to work on the mental side of things as well. So I think that's been really super important and something that I hadn't really put a lot of time into before, and that I feel doing a lot of ums. Something that before this injury, this broken jaw, that maybe I wouldn't have done before. So.
Thanks.
Alex, kind of piggybacking off of that, not talking about the injury, but stepping in there with a guy like Yoel, what did you take away from that, and did you learn anything from that fight about yourself?
Yeah. One, no matter how tough you are, Yoel hits pretty dang hard. If anyone had followed my career before, I tell people all the time, I had a fight beforehand where I took another nasty hit in a flying knee, no breaks, no nothing. Meanwhile, Yoel does a quick little hook and then broke. So that's the one thing I learned. Got to make sure that we're moving our head. But going forward, the one thing that I learned is it's important that me as a fighter to stick to my game plan. And I said that before, I don't like researching my guys. I don't like knowing too much about my opponent. But I had a guy like Yoel Romero who's a legend in the sport, and it's tough to kind of put on blinders and shut out all that information that's coming in. You know, Yoel likes to do this, he's going to do that. And so I think that's why it was so important that afterwards I worked on some techniques in the mental aspect to really focus and hone my game.
Coming back, first let me apologize to someone from Chicago that you're not fighting in Honolulu. But to that point, I feel like the Midwest, especially the Wisconsin, Illinois area, MMA has gone down so much lately. I don't think we see as many fighters stay in their areas. Obviously, you're someone who just found a new home in Las Vegas. Now, outside of people asking you for tickets, do you feel some sense of pride of coming back to the Midwest, fighting and putting on a showcase in front of a big sports city that seems to lose their homegrown town?
You know, yeah. To answer your question first off, I love coming back. And this has been a match that I've been excited about for a while. My first one back in a bit, but always coming back to the Midwest is fun because there's, you know, I mentioned the Honolulu thing, but really it's a business trip, and you know I'm not out seeing the sights and taking in that stuff. I'm hanging out and I'm putting on a show for the people that are going to come to watch. Which I know in the Midwest, there's not a now it's going to sound like I'm bad, but it's fun to come in and watch a little bit of violence happen. With that being said, as far as people leaving, I think it's just when you reach a certain level of sport, you gotta find larger areas to keep working, and to keep, you know, that steel sharpen your steel mentality. And it just goes to show that we got good stock here in the Midwest. It's maybe a breeding ground, and hopefully moving forward that it'll become more of less of a starting place and maybe more of a career place.
Now you talk about Extreme Couture. What have been the biggest things you've been able to take away from your time there?
Really, I say this all the time, and like I could throw out names and stuff everywhere, but really, like I was just saying before about people moving to get that steel sharpened steel. There's so many different guys and looks that come through Extreme Couture, whether they're living there in Vegas or whether they're just, you know, finishing up fight camp or starting fight camp out there. And it's super important that you get different kinds of looks. It's not like, you know, some gym in the middle of Kansas where it's like, you know, me and Roy fight 3 times a week and he knows all my moves, I know all his moves. I'm always getting different looks, I'm always seeing different stuff, and guys are coming in and they have the things that they're good at, and you can teach them a little bit and they can teach you a little bit, and you can pull and scavenge and keep building towards just becoming a better fighter every day.
Last one for me, rings here after this.
Plans for the rest of the year. So we got this fight coming up. Pending the fight going on, I'm hoping to stay busy and get back in it. It's like I said, after my last match, it's been a little while, so I'm hoping to go ahead and keep clocking in and kind of make up this past year. I've been unavailable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Patrick.
Hey, Alex, this is Patrick Ford from Combat Sports K. So you found the new home in Extreme Couture. A long question for you. What is it like training with Sean Strickland?
Get asked that one a lot. Training with Sean is a blast. He's got a lot of, on the fighting side, he's got a lot of things to teach and to lend. On the personality side, it's fun having somebody who's so passionate about the sport and who's willing to share that passion a little bit. Sometimes it could be a little bit much, and I know that there have been some times where there's people like, hey, Sean, you gotta calm down, but you know, he's got the energy that's I find it a little bit not addictive, that's not the word I'm thinking of, but a little bit contagious, you know. Sean gets in there and he's like, let's go, let's bang, I'm ready to do this thing. It's like, yeah, he's right, I am ready to do this thing. So yeah, it's a blast.
Thank you, Alex. You're good.
Okay, sweet.